I have a conviction that if we got anyone from any part of the world and raised them in the ghettos, in the compounds, in the low-class areas, where there are few amenities, there's little resource, and limited opportunities, that recipe would give us what we are seeing in Africa. Anyone from any part of the world raised under these circumstances, I feel they would end up the way we are. My grandfather came from Angola, settled on the border between Zambia and Angola. And I was born in that area. I'm a graphic artist, but I can draw, I can paint, I can sculpt with my hands, I can do photography, can do video, some animation, and I've just gotten to fall in love with 3D modeling. I didn't think it was a career. I wanted to become an architect. But when I completed my high schooling, I met my art teacher who taught me in junior high school. And he told me that I would make a very good artist. That's how I started trying it out. I found myself working in a graphics studio. And then I was doing very well, but later got encouraged again to go to study art. I studied graphic design for 2 years, and then I later went to do full-time study of art teaching for 3 years. After college, when I worked for a little bit, I got an offer to come to Botswana to come and work as a graphic artist. So that's how I came. Zambian by birth, but I've now been in Botswana. This is my 20th year, so I belong to both countries. Yeah. Art has changed from what it was for Pablo Picasso, for Michelangelo. The reason they painted what they painted is different. Most of my work is about people. In my paintings, I'm commenting about the social lives of our people. I want to celebrate the life, the achievements, the triumph, the victory, how they strive day by day to survive in these conditions that they find themselves in. In a certain way, my work is a comment about the political life in which these people find themselves in. So I'm making drawings of women coming from the well, they are collecting water. It talks about the society they are coming from, what infrastructure there is for them. Is there running water, or they have to go to a well, out to the river to get water? Yes, I'm an artist, but I'm also very passionate about the politics that our people find themselves in. Every culture is unique in the world. Africa is a beautiful continent with diverse cultures. very, very rich. The story of Africa can be very negative. So much crime in Africa, there's so much corruption. But like I say, I think I want to tell the positive story of our people, of the hard work they are putting in to survive under the very difficult conditions. Some of the things people are battling with in Africa have been inherited from where we're coming from. There are different political things that are going on around the continent of Africa, from the north, West Africa, East Africa, and so on. Most of the languages are called Bantu languages. History says there was a huge migration to come down to Central Africa. Some went to East Africa, some came to Southern Africa. And the first peoples that were here in Southern Africa were the Khoisan and the San people. Some people will say the Bushmen. So the San and the Khoisan were the original people. And the Bantu people came from West Africa and came and joined them. But after all of this, we also had people that came from Europe, and they colonized Africa and divided Africa into different countries. My mother language is Luvale, and that language is spoken in Zambia and is spoken in Angola. But there's a border now dividing our tribe. Some are in Angola, some are in Zambia. Some people divided our land to break us into these different countries politically. And different groups that colonized Africa, influenced Africa in different ways. One of the sad things that you will know of is the oppression of the native people that were found. South Africa is known for the issues of racism. Those that colonized later took advantage of the political power, abused it for their advantage. I came from Zambia. Zambia was not a racial country. We didn't experience racism as South Africa has known. When I saw how the blacks reacted to the whites, sometimes I used to tell myself, the blacks are overreacting. They don't have to do this. But only much later when I got to see, to appreciate the extent of the oppression that the whites inflicted on the natives, I got to understand why some of the blacks reacted that way. I'm not trying to say reverse racism is okay, no, but I understand in a way why they reacted that way. Slowly, we are moving forward. Right now, South Africa has a black president. If I can say, the Africans are ruling. But children are still growing up, watching their uncles, watching their fathers take guns to commit crime to earn a living. The culture of violence that was used to fight racism is continuing up to now. It will take generations for this to be phased out. But it's also exciting to see the modern South Africa. You are seeing in the arts, you see in music, blacks, whites coming together to do music. So in some ways, the younger generation making some progress in Southern Africa that could not be imagined 20 years ago, but today there is hope. It is slow, but we are moving forward. Across Africa, there are different scenarios. I am not a political scientist, but Botswana is a shining example to Africa in terms of good governance, in meeting, in the upliftment of the quality of life of its people. And in terms of transparency, rule of law, freedom of expression, Botswana is doing very, very well. Many countries in Africa can learn a lot from Botswana. The other countries around, I think economically, South Africa and Nigeria are said to be huge economic countries. Zimbabwe is also known for not doing well politically and economically. We hope a day will come when Zimbabwe regain its glory. It was a beautiful country, and we hope one day it will go back to its glory days. Zambia is not doing well economically right now. At independence, Zambia was doing very, very well. Its currency was a 1-to-1 with the British pound, and today it's way, way, way below. Malawi is not doing well as well. Angola and Mozambique, the story is getting better, but Angola and Mozambique have suffered from the political instability that they carried on with war for a long time. Those two are one of the countries that have had the most recent civil wars in the region. East Africa, the strongest, the biggest powerhouse there is Kenya, doing very well in information technology. And they've developed some of the interesting applications of ICTs in Africa. I think on the continent, Kenya is one of those that's leading in that area. Congo DRC, it's a sad story. For me, I think Congo is like a forgotten country. If the world could realize what Congo is going through. Congo is a sad story. I've never been there, but the stories of people who have been there tell you. Issues of Africa, I've asked myself a lot of questions, and I'm sure other people have asked themselves. People have asked, what is the problem with Africa? And there are many reasons to the problem, but I've found interesting viewpoints why Africa is where it is. It's a big question of nature and nurture. Nature meaning the way we are born, nurture meaning the way we are raised. And some of the problems of Africa that we are dealing with today, I want to say, are because of the way we are nurtured. There are other issues pertaining to how the Africans perceive or look at themselves. I say people do not realize to what extent some of the African minds are brainwashed, or the inferiority complex of the way they look at themselves as opposed to the whites. There are people, I teach in a multicultural school where I think there are kids from different backgrounds that are enlightened. They are seeing everyone. I had a discussion with some of my students. I asked the kids, some kids said, what's the problem with Africa? And one smart girl, black girl, said to me, teacher, Africa is cursed. We Africans are cursed. We can't do anything great. Only the white man can do something good. And I was very shocked that if a kid who is coming from well-to-do family is exposed to what she's exposed to can think like this. What more those in the poor areas, in the villages, what do they think? Who have not gotten to rub shoulders, to sit on the same desk with white boy, white girl. What more those villages? It confirmed for me what I've heard from many people. People feeling that, with all due respect, I'm a teacher, I'm in education. And from a spiritual point of view, God blesses us differently. God gives us talents differently. And some people are blessed with intellect. They are smart. Some people are born with a voice and they can sing very well. We are talented differently. And yet there are people who are so brainwashed, they think that every Indian is smart in maths and science. They think every white person is smarter than they are. Just the way we believed from the movies that every Chinese is good at karate or kung fu. We are just blessed differently. But there are many people in Africa who think they can't be as good as a white person. That is partly the extent to which African mind is brainwashed. Our people need to be liberated. They need to be enlightened. I'm talented in the creative visual arts. I would love to add my voice using my art. I can't dance so well. I can't sing so well. But when I do my art, I get an audience. People get to talk to me about my work. And so in my work, my hope is to also communicate my convictions about where I feel we should be going as a people. I want to contribute to a positive narrative of Africa. I feel that's one of my roles. I'll have done my part if my art can contribute to positive stories of Africa.